If you struggle with visual disturbances such as visual snow or eye floaters, then you probably find yourself in the constant habit of checking. Now that includes checking to see if you can see them, checking and evaluating how bad they are, checking them against certain backgrounds, or maybe you're trying your hardest to ignore them, but then you get sucked back into checking on them and finding it really hard to detach or ignore them. This can feel like a really frustrating cycle that we're stuck in, and it can be really, really hard to feel like how on earth will we ever be able to detach or move away from checking on our visual disturbances. Now, this may seem paradoxical, but the first thing to do is don't constantly try to stop checking, okay? We talk a lot about the importance of our attention when it comes to anxious symptoms, visual disturbances included. And we want to try and practice moving our attention away from being fixated on our internal state and try to move it external and engaged on other things in our lives. However, if we've told ourselves that checking is inherently bad, then we may come to view this behaviour as a problem. Then if you find yourself scanning or checking for symptoms, this can trigger you even more and you might start beating yourself up. Now, of course, checking isn't the most productive use of your time and attention. And the more you do check, you will notice them more. Not that they'll get worse, but you'll notice them. And it's the noticing them more that makes it feel like they are getting worse. What would be more beneficial for you going forward is to practice noticing when you are checking, evaluating, or scanning for symptoms. That's the first step. We need to build up an awareness of when we are checking. Then gently guide your attention away. Not forcefully and then circling back to see if trying not to notice them has worked and that they've magically gone. But just get better at, I've just caught myself checking. Now I'm going to redirect my attention onto something else now, without the urgency or the intention of trying to get rid of them. You're allowed to notice the visual disturbances. That's okay, and that's not a problem. The visual disturbances aren't the problem. It's our relationship with them and the behaviours that we constantly engage in to try and get rid of them that are the issue, and that's what we work on. Once you have noticed them, you can't pretend like you haven't noticed them. But there's a difference between what you notice and what is in your focus. Get better and practice noticing the static, the snow, or the floaters without them being the main point of your focus. Ultimately, and I would argue most importantly, checking is a sign of your low willingness to experience the visual disturbances. This is why we don't work on reducing or eliminating the symptoms. That happens as a happy side effect of building up a tolerance to experience them. The less we are willing to experience them, the more we are likely to constantly check to see if they are there or not. That's why it's really important that what we do focus on is changing our relationship with them. The less we view them as a threat or care that they are there, the less inclined we will be to check on them. And as a result of this shift in attitude towards the visual disturbances, they naturally just fade out and we notice them less and less over time.